Parshas Toldos. This is a shir adapted from the shiurim of Moran Hagoyin, Reb Leib Chasman, Zecher Tzaddik Livrocha. To see this shir in its written form, please refer to our website, yeshivakesatorah.org. The title of this shir is Logic is No Match for Emotions. The pasuk says that Vayozed Yaakov Nozid, Yaakov was making cholent, something he was cooking. Vayovei Esav min hasoda, Esav came from the field. V'hu oyev, and he was tired and famished. Vayomer Esav el Yaakov, and Esav said to Yaakov, Haliteni no min ha'odim hazeh, let me swallow, give me to eat from some of this red cabbage. Ki oyev onechi, because I am faint, I am tired, please give me some of your cholent. Vayomer Yaakov said, Michro chayoim es b'chayros choli, sell this day your birthright to me. Your being the Bechor, sell it to me. I want to have the privilege. Vayomer Esav, and Esav said, Hinei onechi hoilech lamus, behold, I'm going to die anyway. V'loma zeli b'chayra, what do I need the birthright for? Vayomer Yaakov, Hishavo li, swear to me, Yaakov said. Vayishov aloi, Vayimker es b'chayros Yaakov. And Esav sold his birthright to Yaakov for a cholent. He'd rather have a cholent than to have the bechorah. V'Yaakov nosan le'Esav lechem u'nezid adoshim v'yochel v'yesht. Yaakov gave Esav bread and cholent. V'yochel v'yesht. He ate from it, Esav, and Vayokom Vayelech, he rose up and went his way. Vayivez Esav v'sabachora, and Esav despised the birthright. And the question is, didn't Esav know the value of the birthright? Didn't he know that the bearer of the birthright would be the recipient of the brachas for himself and his descendants for all generations to come? Didn't he know how precious and how great the birthright was? Surely he did. Esav knew the greatness of the Bechorah, because when he discovered that Yaakov received the brachis before him, Vayitzak tza'oka gedola umora ad ma'od, he let out a loud and bitter scream. So he fully understood and realized the value of the birthright and what he had lost. If so, the question is, how could Esav do something so irrational and illogical as to sell the invaluable and precious birthright in exchange for some beans, for some cholent? How could he do that? He knew the greatness of the Bechorah. He screamed when he found out that he sold it to Yaakov. How could he do something like that? But here we see again, like our title, the title of our shir, of this shir, that logically he knew the greatness of the birthright. He knew it. He screamed when he found out that he lost it. So how could he sell it for some cholent, for some beans? We have here a machlekes between his logic and between his emotions, his taivas. His taiva wanted so much this cholent, and even though he knew logically that the birthright is so precious, and we have on one side he knows how the greatness of it, and on the other side he has emotions that are pushing him. What do I do? I have my birthright, my knowledge of what the birthright is, the holy birthright, and here I want that shown so much. We have a machlekes. We have a machlekes between his emotions and his logic. Which is stronger? Which is stronger? But we see from here that as much as he understood logically about the greatness of the birthright, but there's something more powerful than logic, and that's a temptation for a cholent. And that's what we call this sheer. Logic is no match for emotions. Emotions are much stronger and made him forget about. In other words, when the emotions for the cholent, for the temptation for the cholent, fought with the logic didn't stand a chance. He's such a baltaiva, he wants it so much, and it just, there was no opposition. It couldn't. His logic couldn't stand up to his emotions. Logic is no match for emotions. Question. This is the meaning of taiva. This is the meaning of temptation. But the question now is, in other words, the emotion steamrolled anything that stood in its path. And the logic was saying, forget about the cholent. Forget about the cholent. He's talking to himself, Esav. Forget about the cholent. You got to do what's right. You know how precious the birthright is. What is a cholent? Where does it compare to it? No. The cholent, the temptation, was able to break through, steamrolled anything in its path that was opposing him from receiving this cholent, was just blown away, pushed away. Tremendous thing. This happens to us constantly. We have a desire for something, we have a temptation for something, and even though we might know what's right, but we can't stand up to our temptations, to our taivas, to our temptations, and we have to, and it steamrolls the entire logic. It doesn't function anymore. His logic is not functioning anymore. when it comes to a taiva, a temptation. That's negating it. But the question on this would be that during that instant that he was tempted for the cholent, we could understand that the emotions are more powerful. But afterwards, after he ate the cholent and was now satiated, was now satisfied, after that, right after that, Vayivez Esav es haBechorah. He embarrassed. He put down the Bechorah. That it's nothing anyway. What did I lose? I didn't lose anything. What's that all about? Now he should be thinking clearly. While he was in the midst of this fog, of this temptation, we could understand that the emotion, that the temptation is more powerful than logic. But after he ate and was satiated himself, and now his mind began to function again, now why is he putting down the Bechorah? It seems from here that after the temptation for the cholent subsided, because he ate the cholent, he was very happy and satisfied, a new taiva set in, a new temptation set in, and this was a temptation for kavod. He wants honor. He's afraid. Oi, what's going to be? And a year from now, I'm gonna eat myself up alive for what I did. So he had to rationalize that he didn't do anything wrong. True, the Bechorah is something great, but still, I'm going to eat myself up alive. Why did I do such a crazy thing, selling the Bechorah for some beans? Why? Why did I do it? How did I do that? And he's going to eat himself there. His ego comes in. And his kavod. Everybody's going to think I'm out of my mind. Now his mind is functioning. Now it's not in the midst of the temptation of the cholent. Now it's just his ego is going to eat himself up alive. So that a new temptation enters the picture now. A new temptation for kavod. How did I do such a ridiculous thing? This is the way life goes on. These emotions which occurred within the heart and mind of Esav are in reality natural human reactions which readily occur within our very own lives. We may succumb to a bias toward even the most meager physical pleasure, eating a cholent. We may succumb to that, and which can distort our ability to see the truth. Once he saw the emotions, once the temptations were fighting against the logic, and the logic couldn't defend itself, we see in our own very lives that we may succumb to a bias toward even the most meager physical pleasures, which can distort our ability to see the truth. What do we do then? We then rationalize and justify our act in order to satisfy our ego. That's why Vayivez Esav es haBechorah, he put down, what's the Bechorah anyway? He put it down just to satisfy his ego. This is the way life goes on. We are tempted to do things that the Rebbeinu Shalom does not want, and then we rationalize that, I didn't do anything wrong. We rationalize to satisfy our covered, our ego, and this can happen 10 times a day, 100 times a day. We are tempted to do the wrong things, and then we rationalize that what we did was correct. Hashem should help us to purify our hearts and serve Him in truth. V'tahir libeinu la'avdecha be'emes. Amen v'amen.